Did the federal government cut a deal with Allen? His testimony against Senator Stevens in exchange for sweeping possible sex crimes under the rug. Senator Dan Sullivan thinks it's a possibility. He joins us to talk about this new effort to find out. Senator, you have a history with Bill Allen. When you were the state attorney general, you tried to get information on the federal case into Bill Allen. What happened back then?
Well, you know, Emily, we looked into the matter ourselves from a criminal perspective. And we thought there was a strong case on the federal charges, not on state charges. So we had a really good cooperation history with the federal prosecutors. So we asked them to allow us to bring the case, and they said no. And that was a little bit surprising. And then they never fully explained the reason. And then there was a history of this ongoing. Attorney General Garrity did this, Lisa Murkowski asked, and they never, ever gave a direct answer on why they weren't allowing somebody to prosecute Bill Allen on these sexual abuse of minor cases.
When you pushed to amend the Mann Act last year, was Bill Allen and the allegations of sex crimes the reason why?
Well, look, it wasn't just the reason why. If you look at the amendment, my amendment that became part of the broader human trafficking bill that passed the Senate and the Congress and was signed by the president, one of the big challenges we have in Alaska and the country is not enough resources to go after these human trafficking cases, which are nationwide. So my amendment says if state AGs say to the feds, hey, we want to prosecute these, the Attorney General of the United States says you should prosecute them. You have to under this new law. And if she says no, then she has to give a detailed explanation of why, and so we'll see what she does in this case.
Before your amendment passed, you met with U.S. Attorney Loretta Lynch about Bill Evans. How did that meeting go?
You know, I think it was an okay meeting. She obviously had nothing to do with this as the new Attorney General, and I mentioned that, hey, you can help tie up the loose ends of justice here. You had nothing to do with this, but help us understand why. You know, Assistant Attorney General for the state, John Skidmore, put it perfectly, I thought, today in the press conference. He said, this is about justice for victims and truth for Alaskans. That's what I said to Loretta Lynch about a year ago in a meeting I had with her. The response, again, from the Department of Justice was very inadequate this time, and that was disappointing.
So the Attorney General has 60 days to respond to the letter. Under what circumstances can she deny handing over the investigation?
Well, so the law says that she shall cross-designate a state attorney general unless it undermines the administration of justice. So that's her only real exemption. And if she uses that exemption, she has to provide a detailed explanation within 60 days back to Attorney General Richards, who I thought did a great job. And importantly, his letter to her today said, if you use that exemption, please answer this question. Did the federal government cut a deal with Bill Allen to get him to be a witness against Ted Stevens in return for not bringing these sexual abuse of minor and human trafficking charges against him? If that's the case, Emily, I think that would be a scandal of the highest order.
One more question quickly. After all these years, why spend the time and money to go after federal charges in a federal court?
Well, look, I think this is important for a couple of reasons. A, as I mentioned, the broader issue of human trafficking is a big issue for Alaska. It's a big issue for the country. But as I mentioned in the press conference today, I think regardless of what the federal government does in this case, and I certainly hope that they abide by the law, this, I think, is important because it sends our action today, it sends a deterrent message to potential perpetrators who are out there, that if you commit these kind of heinous crimes against Alaskans, young kids really, that either state officials or federal officials in our oversight capacity with regard to the Department of Justice, we're not going to rest until justice is done, even if the perpetrators have been accused for crimes many years ago. It's still important to go after perpetrators of these heinous crimes.
Senator Dan Sullivan, thanks so much for being with us
tonight.
Thank you,
Emily.